Hello, welcome to Secret Zone. Subscribe and turn on notifications for stories you won't forget. I never imagined that a single day could change my life forever. That the person I loved, trusted, and built my dreams with could betray me in the most unimaginable way. My name is Ethan, and I had what I thought was a perfectly stable career as a manager at a large electronics company, a beautiful home, and a wife, Olivia, who seemed devoted, ambitious, and full of charm. Our days together were peaceful, ordinary, yet comforting, filled with shared laughter, quiet dinners, and dreams of building a future together. I remember the first time I met her, in the busy corridors of a company where she worked as a manager at a pipe manufacturing firm. Her presence was magnetic, confident, and professional, yet there was a warmth that drew me in instantly. Our conversations flowed effortlessly, initially about work, and then about life, aspirations, and the small joys that make every day meaningful. Over time, that friendship quietly grew into something deeper, something I believed was pure love. We decided to marry, blending our lives, our ambitions, and our worlds, thinking that we had found a partner we could trust completely, someone who would stand by us through everything. I never doubted her, never questioned her loyalty, and believed that our love and partnership were unshakable. But that belief was about to be shattered in a way I could never prepare for. It all began on an ordinary day, when I returned home earlier than usual from work. The streets were quiet, the kind of calm that should have felt peaceful, but an uneasy feeling settled in my chest. Walking into the house, everything seemed normal at first, the soft hum of the air, the faint scent of dinner being prepared, but then a sound caught my attention, something unfamiliar, almost imperceptible, coming from the upper floor. My heart skipped a beat. A chill ran down my spine, and instinctively I moved closer, drawn by a mixture of curiosity and dread. As I slowly approached the bedroom, the reality hit me like a punch to the gut. There was a man, someone I recognized from before, standing there in my home, and he wasn't supposed to be there. My mind raced, struggling to process the impossible truth unfolding before me. The room that I had shared with the person I trusted the most, the home that had always felt like a sanctuary, suddenly became a place of shock, disbelief, and heartbreak. I couldn't speak. I could barely breathe. Yet in that moment, every emotion I had ever felt, for her, trust, devotion, collided violently with betrayal, anger, and confusion. It was in that instant that I realized my life as I knew it had changed forever, that the woman I had built my world around, the person I had loved unconditionally, had been hiding a secret that would leave scars I could not yet understand. And yet, even in the midst of that shock, something inside me remained. A quiet, determined voice, telling me that no matter what had happened, I would not let this betrayal define me. This was the moment my story truly began. A story of heartbreak, courage, and ultimately, the chance to rebuild my life and find happiness again, in ways I had never imagined possible. I never imagined that life could turn in a single instant. My name is Ethan, and until that day, I thought I had everything anyone could wish for. A thriving career as a manager at a major electronics company, a beautiful home, and a loving, intelligent wife named Olivia. Our life together was comfortable, steady, and ordinary in the best way. Every morning we would share coffee before leaving for work, talking about small things, spreadsheet deadlines, office gossip, or sometimes just a joke to lighten the day. Evenings were filled with quiet dinners, laughter, and plans for the future. I loved her, trusted her completely, and believed that our marriage was built on unwavering loyalty and honesty. We had met at her workplace, where she was a confident, professional, and ambitious manager at a pipe manufacturing firm. There was something about the way she carried herself, her sharp mind and warm smile, that drew me in instantly. Our conversation started with business, naturally transitioned to life and dreams, and eventually to a deep connection neither of us had anticipated. I still remember the day I realized that my casual admiration had transformed into love, overwhelming and consuming. As our bond grew, we decided to marry. Our wedding was quiet but heartfelt, a celebration of love, partnership, and the dreams we had for the future. Life seemed perfect, the kind of story that people dream of, but few get to live. I would come home after long days at work, and Olivia would greet me with a smile, dinner prepared, or sometimes just a cup of coffee waiting for us to talk. We shared responsibilities, celebrated small victories, and comforted each other during setbacks. It was normal, and in that normalcy, I found happiness. But happiness can be fragile, I would soon learn. One ordinary afternoon, after finishing work earlier than usual, I drove home under the soft gray skies that often hovered above our city. The streets were quiet, the kind of peaceful calm that should have welcomed me, but instead, it felt heavy, unsettling. As I entered the house, something seemed off. There was silence, no television, no music, no sounds of Olivia moving around. I placed my bag down in the kitchen and paused, trying to shake off the uneasy feeling creeping through me. Then I heard it. A muffled noise coming from the upper floor. Quiet voices that didn't belong. My heart began to race. A strange mix of curiosity and dread pulling me toward the staircase. Every step I took creaked under my weight, and I was suddenly hyper-aware of every detail of the familiar walls. The faint smell of dinner lingering in the air. The way the afternoon light filtered through the bedroom windows. And then I saw him, a man I knew, standing in my home, in a place that was supposed to be sacred between Olivia and me. My stomach sank, my chest tightened, and my mind raced, searching for a logical explanation, anything that could make sense of what I was witnessing. It was Liam, her assistant at work, a person I had casually known but never imagined in such a context. The sight of him there, coupled with the betrayal I was beginning to sense, felt like a physical blow. My mind tried to reason maybe a visitor, a mistake, but deep down, I knew the truth I didn't want to accept. Olivia had chosen him over me. My heart shattered, my trust crumbled, and in that moment, the life I had built, the home I had cherished, and the love I had devoted myself to all seemed to vanish. I called Olivia, my voice trembling but controlled, demanding answers. Liam collected his things and left without confrontation. Olivia's explanation, hesitant and tearful, confirmed my worst fears. She had betrayed me, hiding a secret affair that had grown over time, shattering everything we had built together. In that instant, heartbreak, anger, and disbelief collided, leaving me numb but strangely composed. I realized I needed to take control, not let betrayal define me. And that is where the journey of heartbreak and rebirth began. After witnessing the impossible, a surreal mix of disbelief, anger, and sorrow gripped me. Yet I knew my first step had to be clear-headed. I needed to confront Olivia not in a blind rage, but to uncover the truth and reclaim control over my life. That evening the living room felt different, almost ominous, though it was the same space where we had celebrated birthdays, anniversaries, and countless quiet nights together. The familiar furniture, the soft glow of the lamp, and the photographs on the walls now seemed like silent witnesses to a betrayal that had been hiding in plain sight. When I called Olivia into the room, her hesitation was palpable. She walked slowly, as though each step carried the weight of her guilt. The fear in her eyes was evident, and the shame she tried to mask was barely concealed behind forced composure. I could see it, the quiet realization that the truth had finally caught up with her. I spoke to her, my voice calm but sharp, each word deliberate. I asked her why she had done this, how long it had been going on, and how she could betray the love and trust we had spent years nurturing. Her answers came in fragmented, halting sentences. Apologies mixed with feeble excuses spilled out, yet they did nothing to ease the pain gnawing at my chest. Every word felt like a blade cutting deeper into a heart that had believed, without question, in the sanctity of our bond. And then the truth crystallized. Liam, her assistant, someone I had trusted as part of our professional lives, had crossed a boundary that should have remained in. The betrayal was no longer abstract. It was real, tangible, and deeply personal. The violation of trust stung more fiercely than any other emotional wound I had ever endured. Despite the whirlwind of emotions threatening to overwhelm me, I forced myself to stay composed. Years of discipline, logic, and meticulous planning in my professional life now became my anchor in this personal storm. I reached for my phone quietly, recording the conversation not as an act of revenge in that moment, but as a shield, proof of the reality I could no longer deny. Each syllable she spoke, every tremor in her voice, became evidence of the truth I needed to survive this emotional upheaval. When Liam finally left, the room felt emptier than ever, yet Olivia remained. Her tears glistened under the soft light, her voice pleading, trembling with the desperation I had once found comforting. But now, there was no room for comfort. Reconciliation was not an option. The love that had once been the foundation of our lives together had been fractured beyond repair. I contacted a lawyer, prepared all the necessary legal documents, and began the process of protecting myself. Each action, though methodical, carried the weight of heartbreak, a reminder of what I had lost. In the days that followed, Olivia's attempts to reach me were relentless. Calls, messages, and emails flooded in, each one an attempt to manipulate, apologize, or explain away the undeniable truth. I kept my distance, resolute and unwavering, refusing to give in to guilt, confusion, or lingering affection. Each night became a period of reflection, analyzing every event, revisiting memories, and understanding the betrayal not as a personal failing, but as a reality I could neither ignore nor allow to define my future. Slowly, I began to see the path forward. Forgiveness might come one day, but reconciliation was impossible. The trust that had been broken could not be restored overnight, and the person I had loved so deeply had chosen a life that excluded me. I focused instead on rebuilding myself mentally, emotionally, and eventually, socially. I reminded myself of my own worth, of the life I had worked tirelessly to create, and of the possibility that happiness, though delayed, was still attainable. As the weeks passed, I reclaimed small pieces of my life. Quiet mornings without fear of deception, evenings spent in reflection rather than confrontation, and an emerging sense of peace that came from control over my own decisions. The road ahead was not free of pain, but it was mine to navigate. I realized that sometimes the greatest acts of courage are not loud or dramatic. They are the silent decisions to stand firm, protect oneself, and wait for the chance to rediscover trust, love, and happiness. By the time the first month had passed, I was no longer consumed by anger or grief. The betrayal had taken its toll, yes, but it had also taught me something profound. The heart can endure more than we often give it credit for, and even after the deepest wounds, it is possible to rebuild, to heal, and to prepare for the love and life that awaits beyond the shadows of deceit. After months of solitude, reflection, and quiet healing, life presented an unexpected opportunity. One crisp morning, as the sunlight poured through the leafy streets, casting golden patterns on the pavement, I decided to take a walk through the park near my apartment. The air was fresh, the gentle rustling of leaves, accompanied by distant laughter from children playing it, was a rare moment of peace I hadn't felt in a long time. And then I saw her, Claire. She was sitting on a bench, casually reading a book, sunlight glinting off her hair, a serene smile illuminating her face. There was something magnetic about her presence, a warmth and sincerity that seemed to seep into the very air around her. Without overthinking, I greeted her. And to my surprise, she responded with a smile that was honest and open, devoid of pretense. We started talking. At first, it was small things. The beauty of the morning, the park around us, a shared joke about the noisy squirrels. But gradually, the conversation deepened. She spoke with a clarity and gentleness that made it easy to listen, to open up, to be honest. I found myself sharing thoughts I hadn't voiced in months, reflections on the pain I had endured, and cautiously, the hope I still carried for happiness. Claire listened. She didn't judge, didn't interrupt. She simply understood. Days turned into weeks, and our encounters became more frequent. We explored the city together, walking along riversides where sunlight danced on the water, visiting cozy cafes tucked away in quiet streets, and sharing meals filled with laughter and stories. With Claire, I felt a sense of safety I had not experienced in a long time. My heart, once tight with anger and sorrow, began to loosen. The trust I had feared lost forever slowly reemerged, fragile but real. Unlike my previous marriage, where secrecy and betrayal had poisoned love, this new relationship was different. It was grounded in honesty, transparency, and mutual respect. Every conversation, every shared silence, every supportive gesture reinforced the foundation of something beautiful, something worth holding on to. I realized that love was not about perfection, but about choosing each other despite flaws, fears, and past pain. Months later, Claire and I decided to marry. It was not a decision made in haste or impulse, but with deliberate thought and heartfelt intention. Our wedding was intimate, attended by a handful of friends and family who understood our journey. The ceremony reflected our bond, simple, elegant, and deeply personal. As we exchanged vows, I felt the weight of the past lift ever so slightly, replaced with hope, promise, and a sense of renewal. Yet, even as happiness returned, memories of betrayal lingered. Some nights, I would wake with a fleeting ache, recalling moments of deceit, whispers of doubt, and the hidden apartment that had once shaken my trust. But instead of allowing these memories to dominate, I consciously chose to focus on the present. Each day, with Claire, was a reclaiming of my life, a deliberate movement away from the hurt and toward joy, companionship, and genuine love. Time passed, and life with Claire grew richer, calmer, and more meaningful than I'd imagined possible. Each morning began with laughter, quiet breakfasts on the balcony, and conversations about hopes, dreams, and the little victories of life. I poured my energy into work, but now I did so with a lightness I had felt before, because success no longer felt hollow. It was shared, celebrated, and grounded in a life I truly valued. Meanwhile, Olivia and Liam, the people who had betrayed me, faced the consequences of their actions. Rumors spread, partnerships dissolved, and the life they had built on deception crumbled quietly around them. I felt no desire for revenge. My focus remained entirely on building a life of dignity, stability, and genuine happiness. I realized that the true triumph was not punishing those who had wronged me, but reclaiming my own life, my own joy. Every challenge I faced during that period became a lesson in resilience. The heartbreak, once a source of pain, transformed into a source of wisdom. I learned that betrayal, while devastating, does not have to define the rest of one's life. Through composure, reflection, and courage, I had the power to move forward. I could create a life full of trust, love, and laughter, life beyond pain. Claire and I shared experiences that reminded me of the beauty of ordinary life. Long walks along the waterfront, where the sun sparkled like diamonds on the water. Quiet evenings at home, sharing stories and music. Celebrating small successes at work and personal achievements. These moments stitched together a life I had once thought impossible. After betrayal, I felt my heart heal fully, the scars of the past softening with time and love. Over time, I realized something profound. The greatest triumph over betrayal is not revenge or anger. It is restoration, rebuilding oneself, learning to trust again, and allowing love to flourish in the present are acts of courage. Claire and I had created a partnership rooted in honesty, shared values, and mutual respect. The mistakes of the past no longer dictated our future. As I reflect on that journey, I understand that life's twists and turns, though painful at times, also offer opportunities for growth, rediscovery, and profound happiness. Betrayal had closed one chapter of my life, but it had also cleared space for a new beginning. One where love, trust, and companionship could flourish without shadows. Claire and I live fully in the present, appreciating every moment, knowing that happiness is not merely the absence of pain, but the conscious choice to embrace life again, to love deeply, and to trust wholeheartedly. Life had given me a second chance, and I intended to honor it every single day, savoring the joy of a heart renewed and a future reclaimed. As I sit now, looking back on everything that happened, I realized that the most powerful lessons often come from the deepest pain. Losing Olivia, facing betrayal, and seeing the person I trusted more than anyone violate that trust was one of the hardest moments of my life. Yet it shaped me in ways nothing else could. I learned that heartbreak does not have to destroy you. It can teach you strength, resilience, and the importance of I learned that no matter how deep the wound, life has a way of offering second chances, new beginnings, and the possibility of real happiness. With Claire by my side, I discovered love that is honest, supportive, and fulfilling. A love built on trust rather than secrecy, on respect rather than betrayal. We laugh together, we share our dreams, we face challenges hand in hand. And every day I am reminded that the life I feared was gone has been replaced with something even better, something genuine, something lasting. The pain of the past still lingers occasionally, a quiet echo of what I endured, but it no longer controls me. It serves as a reminder of how far I have come, how strong I am, and how precious trust and honesty are in any relationship. I understand now that the best way to move on is not to seek revenge, not to dwell on anger or resentment, but to reclaim your life, embrace your worth, and allow yourself to be happy again. Life is unpredictable, full of twists, betrayals, and surprises, but it also offers healing, love, and joy to those willing to take the risk of trusting again. So, I choose peace over anger, love over bitterness, and hope over despair. My story, once defined by heartbreak, is now defined by resilience, by growth, and by the incredible chance to start anew. And in that, I have found something far greater than revenge. I have found myself, my happiness, and the love I truly deserve. Thank you for watching this story, for sharing in this journey of heartbreak, courage, and hope. Remember, no matter what challenges life throws at you, you can rise, rebuild, and find happiness again. If you felt this story, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another Secret Zone story. Life may be unpredictable, but hope, courage, and love are always waiting on the other side.